Joining us now, always from Ovi's orbit, CBS hockey analyst Alan May, who's had the privilege of a front row seat to the majority of that 895. Alan, I still got the hair standing up on my arm. This moment, it's one that until a couple years ago, the hockey mind could not even fathom. How do you put into words the emotion of these last 72 hours?
Well, this hockey mind never could have fathomed it. And I grew up in Edmonton watching Wayne Gretzky and got to play against him and be on a team with him. And I didn't think anyone had ever come close. So you think the last 72 hours, we started to realize it was going to happen. It would happen. It has happened. And the emotions are amazing. I've woken up every single day ready for this moment. I just didn't know how it was going to come. I was hoping it was a signature goal. And to see it happen, him pass my all-time favorite hockey player with the guy that I've loved covering for the last 16 seasons, it is so surreal and it's special and awesome. And I thought the National Hockey League, Wayne Gretzky, and everyone involved, the Washington Capitals, pulled this off. And the celebration on ice, the way they were able to do everything, the class of the league, the New York Islanders, and everyone for pausing so we could all enjoy these incredibly emotional moments.
The outstretched arms, the celebration, family and greatness both on hand. It wells you up with all the emotion of what makes sport something so special. And Alan, we are, in fact, talking about a 39-year-old who broke his leg in November, chasing this record with reverence and intensity you allude to. It's almost hard to imagine. And I don't want to approach it too broad, but what does this moment mean to the sport?
Well, it's brought every eye. We've had some great moments this season in the National Hockey League. And you look at the Four Nations and the Canada-U.S. game and how that brought so many more eyes to the game. Well, this brought eyes again, too, watching this unfold. And, I liken it to Cristiano Ronaldo, becoming the all-time leading scorer in soccer. But for North America, this is our guy. And, our league, the National Hockey League, are 32 teams. And for a record to be broken the way it's been done, no one's ever scored more consistently than Ovechkin. The greatest season he ever had was 65. He didn't have the Gretzky 92. Gretz, I think, was four or five times over 70 goals or above. And in the last 10 years of Ovechkin's career, he's had to deal with work stoppages due to, lockouts, due to pandemic, shortened season, another pandemic mini season. And 16 games here, he was injured with a broken fibula. And somehow the guy just keeps powering away. And just the last couple of weeks, just the last 5 games, he's had 6 goals, 7 in the last 7. I just can't fathom, and I still don't believe it, but I've never doubted this guy. It's been my absolute pleasure and honor to be able to cover him. And he's got a better points per game or goals per game average in the last 10 years of his career than he did in the first 10 years. So it just doesn't make sense. And, they have a saying around here, the Russian machine never breaks. Well, he almost broke a little bit this year, but he never wavered. He came back, and he's scoring goals at even greater clip than he left the league at 39 years of age when he broke his leg, and he comes back. It's so hard to believe. I believe this is maybe the greatest story that hockey's ever told. And talk about a generational player. What he and Sidney Crosby have done for the National Hockey League after the torch was passed is truly something amazing and something to be honored and cherished.
And when we consider the way that goaltending itself has evolved since Gretzky left and Ovi entered, this is, again, in all aspects, hard to get your head around. But 895 and counting, next up perhaps 900. Who knows if he'll keep this heater going until the finish line of this regular season. But it's more than 1,400 games to his name, and all in that Caps sweater. You've had the front row seat, as we said, but this chase never seemed bigger than the team's success, or at least the two paralleled one another. How has that individual feat breathed life into a team currently hovering around the top of the league?
Well, when I look at everything that's happened in this Washington Capitals season, it's their 50th season as a National Hockey League team. And for this to be so special, they rebuilt their team on the fly. I've never seen a better retooling for the regular season success. Every player that they brought in, there were 7 players during the offseason that were brought in. Almost every single one of them has had a career year. And they've had more goals, more points than they've ever had, but they found a way to unify and create a team right from the get-go. And to be at the top of the Eastern Conference or even the top of the league, no one had that. I believed in this team. I was bullish on them, but just in the division, I thought, first or second place they'd be battling for. They wouldn't be a draft lottery team. So to chase this record and to have the team at the top when everyone said, what are they going to do? It's just going to be them chasing Ovechkin's goal record, and that's all the Caps fans are going to get. And then what are the Capitals going to do? But now they're doing everything. They got a Stanley Cup contending team. They've got the greatest goal scorer in the history of the National Hockey League. And it's all come together at such an incredible time. So I hope the story keeps getting better and better. From a personal and selfish standpoint, and a guy that covers the team on a day-to-day basis, I wouldn't mind seeing another Stanley Cup in their future, but that's the hardest thing to accomplish in sports. And you need luck, health, roster, the perfect game plan every night. You've got to have everything. The right general manager, president, coach, owner. No one's figured out how to make that perfect, stew of success. But I love the story and I love the possibility. I sense an interesting spring and early summer for Alan May perhaps this year. Back to the moment here at hand, because Wayne Gretzky needs no further applause or accolade. It is a name that defines this game. But Wayne has been so great over this stretch as well, telling stories, being open with his experience, one of which being embarrassed about breaking Gordie Howe's record, speaking with his father the night before he did, and almost poetically, Howe's record stood for 31 years. Gretzky's the same. When you look at the list of active goal scorers, Ovi's mark will not be threatened by anyone currently in the league. But as he said, they are meant to be broken. With the way the game continues to evolve, Alan, do you believe that someday Ovi will be the one up in the skybox applauding that next in line? Well, I sure hope so, because it'll be another incredible player to be able to watch, grow and continue to build this game. And, you look at the names on that board, and Leon Draisaitl is the guy to me, if it does, because he's been the most consistent of all those goal scorers. Connor McDavid is the best player in hockey. He's going to, end up being maybe second in total points in the National Hockey League. But it's right now, it's still hard for me to imagine, because, as I said, as a kid, watching Wayne Gretzky and then playing in the National Hockey League against him, the numbers he was putting up were so astronomical that you didn't think it could ever happen. But, some of these players, they figure out the game. Ovechkin, he's not the athlete he was. He's not, the fastest player in the NHL like he was. He's got a lot of scar tissue, a lot of Band-Aids on that body, holding them together. And he found a way to become a smarter, better goal scorer in the last half of his career than the first half of his career. So you have to think it's possible. I just don't know if it's any of those guys in that list, or if I'll still even be on this earth when it happens. But it was amazing watching Wayne do it. And as you said, there's been no greater ambassador, and I think on all of sports, when I think of Wayne Gretzky, the grace and humility. And he told me in 2016 on air that Ovechkin would break his record. He's told me 3 or 4 times that he would always be there. His dad was a very wise man. I wish I would have met him, because he taught Wayne so many great lessons, and Wayne has passed everything forward. We couldn't ask for a better all-time ambassador in the National Hockey League, and just one of the greatest human beings I've ever met in my life. Well, if that 31-year math keeps up, by my estimation, there's an 8-year-old somewhere right now lacing up his skates, working on that wrister, trying to make a name for himself. We'd be so lucky to watch it again, but we're lucky to watch it this time, and lucky to break it down with you, Alan May. Thank you, as always, for your perspective. Thank you, Joe. All right, a look at some notable records that have stood and fallen in recent memory. Barry Bonds becoming the home run king back in 07. LeBron James still counting on those career points as he recently passed Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. Jerry Rice, career scrimmage touchdowns, went down in 94. And Alexander Ovechkin, a moment here in the sun, 895 and counting.